this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Monday, August 18th, 2025, here for my weekly cross-stitch update. And I'm excited about my stitching right now. I've got 2 finishes this week, and I'm already planning for next year, and it's really fun. So I just heard Smokey whine, so I'm gonna go let her in, and then we'll get started. Okay, let's do my Sunday stitch first, my Sunday travel stitch. My Big Toes Books of the Bible. Hi, kitty. Yeah. She wants to be with me. She wants to be with all of you, too. So I got another length of brown put into this one. This is 25 count B-Stitch Me Through the Stones, and it's 1/1 full cross with the called for silks. Finished the word Proverbs, started on Ecclesiastes. So this is fun. Getting close to the end of the first page. There's 3 pages. Oh, great. It's that time. Let's have a bath on Flosstube. But this is fun. I like working on this one every week. Travel stitching for my normal everyday travel stitching. Travel stitching has been really good this week because my younger 2 kids are back in school. And in order to be close to the gate so that I get a parking spot, because if you get there really close to when school gets out, there is no parking available. So I get there early, get a spot close to the gate for my younger daughter, and then by the time she gets out, I can go around through the neighborhood and wait for a few more minutes for my older son, or for my middle son at the high school. So it's a different route than I've done, before, because it's a different year, different schools, but it's been good for travel stitching. So I have been working on Tulips by It's So Emma. This is part of their Stitchy Seed Packet series, and this is the second one. And I already did Daisies, which is the first one, and Violets, which is the third one. This is the second one. And now I'll go in order from now on, just because at the time I wasn't feeling this one, but I think I'll just chip away at them evenly because they're all pretty cute. So I think I'll do all of them. So this one is now finished, which is fun. So this one is, all of these are on a B-Stitch Me 25 count in Sand Dollar, which is a nice, cool tan with some mild modeling on it. The 1/1 full cross with fancy flosses for my stash. So this one had, I think these 2 pinks were called for. I actually had them. Everything else is just stuff in my stash that was close to what was called for. Yay! So that's finish number 1 for the week. And my second one, or the next one I picked up, not my second finish, but my next travel piece is the Dahlias, or Dahlias. I don't know. There's an H in there, so I kind of feel like saying it different ways at different times. But this is the next one in the series. I thought this was cute. It looks very similar in color to the tulips, but when I looked at the colors, I realized I have this one. House Wine is actually the called for dark color, only mine is a Crescent Colors, which is the old version of Classic Colorworks, which is what's called for. So mine could be potentially darker than the one they used, because dye lots do change over the years, especially from the previous label. It's kind of far back. I mean, I have it, it's close, and it'll be good to be slightly different than tulips anyway, so I went ahead and picked a different, I think the light color here was maybe, was it supposed to, I think it was supposed to be the same light color from the tulips from the back, but that color didn't look very good with this, and I felt like it was too light for this piece, and so I went with a new light pink, but I felt like it fit better. I think it's a Victorian motto. So this is where I've gotten to so far on Dahlias, which is super fun. I'm very happy with my choices. A new yellow, because they chose a new yellow than what they'd had in the Violets and Daisies. Both had kind of a more warm yellow. This one was more yellow, so I went ahead and picked a new yellow than the other 2, but I'm keeping the same greens, keeping the same blacks and browns. So these 2, kind of burgundy and pink. for the petals, which is fun. And it's one length filled in. The rest of this is not yet filled in case you're wondering. But yeah, that's fun. So these are gonna work up a lot quicker than they did during the summer, that's for sure. So I'll have to decide how many of these I want to do, depending on how quickly I can get them done, before I go back to my last Cats and Hearts November. Let's see. I have this one, Cats and Hearts by Kitty and Me. This is the November one, the only one in the series that I have not yet finished. I currently have August right there. You can't quite see it, but so I'm switching these out every month in my frame, but I want to get this done before November, ideally. So now I have a good amount of travel stitching. So I've got like 45 minutes a day now. I guess like 30 to 45 minutes, depending on the day. So if my son has band practice after school, then I only stitch while I'm waiting for my daughter. So yeah, it's like 30 to 45 minutes. So I'll at least want to start that in October, but I might start it in September just to be doubly sure, but we'll wait and see. I'll probably do at least, I might do one more seed packet series. If these keep going pretty quick, I can maybe whip through a few of them before I go back to them, but we'll see. We'll take it as it comes, because I know, yeah, maybe I'll start the Cats and Hearts like mid-September, mid to late September, and then I'll have like a month and a half to make sure it gets done before November. They are bigger than the seed packet series and more complicated, but I do have more time in the car now, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay, is that everything in here? I think so. So I also had my temperature stitching that I've been working on, where I have 9 digits assigned to 9 projects, and then whatever the last digit of the temperature is, I'll work on that for the day for 30 minutes. So I am currently working on pieces that I have in Pattern Keeper with the least amount of stitches remaining to try to kind of chip away at some of those. So the one that got chosen that I worked on Monday was To Everything a Season sampler, which is an old Needles and Hoops kit, also a Busilla brand, and also by the Cooler Design Studio, because it is designed by Sandy Orton. So it's actually, I got a digital version from the Cooler Design Studio website that's called the Traditional Sampler, but it's the same thing. So, and now I have it in Pattern Keeper, which is great. So, but I am still using all the kit stuff. And that was the one caveat to the PDF that I got. It worked perfectly in Pattern Keeper, but I needed to adjust my symbols to match the card that I had put together 25 years ago with the symbols from the kit, because the symbols were different. So it was pretty much the same, but the symbols were different. So that's the only thing. I just had to adjust my thread card, essentially. So here we are. This is what we got to, just 1/2 hour. So 71 stitches. This is all the kit stuffs. 28 count even weave in like an antique white, and everything is 2/2. And it's now 40.66%. I worked on the top, put in some stitches over here, and I think I finished off a length of thread over there. Not a lot, but you know, every little bit helps. I think it was some of these darker bits, because I had a couple pieces, a couple stitch symbols in here that weren't done yet. So I went ahead and was picking at those symbols first before I focused more on filling in this corner bit. And then all of this stuff will probably be repeated over here. So I'll go and do this before I move down, you know. So this will have to be all the way done. And then I'll do it over here and move down. But I think it'll be a lot easier to do this with Pattern Keeper now, because a lot of these motifs have a smattering of symbols. The colors change quite a bit. So it'll be nice to, because I think in the past I would miss symbols because it's like, oh, that's over there too, you know. So that's the nice thing about Pattern Keeper, is it highlights everything, all the symbols you are working on, so you won't miss them as easily, because it's like, it's right there, it's highlighted. So that's nice. I like that. So I worked on that one day, and then I worked on, the next day was Simpsons. And then I also worked on it on Saturday and Sunday as well. So it was 96 for Tuesday's temperature, and then Saturday and Sunday was 86. But it came out because it's for the number 6. So this was really fun to work so much on. This is for my husband, still secret as far as I know. And it's coming along. I did work, you should be able to see some stuff. So the first day I worked on a medium gray that was in the background, and it's not super dark, but you could tell what I did. The second day, I actually worked on I finished that medium gray. I did all of it, which was fun. Color completed it. Then the color with the next least amount of stitches remaining was a navy. So the second day I worked on that, color completed that. It was all in the border. Really could see what I did. So then the third day it got called. I was like, okay, now I need to work on some of the pale colors that you can barely see. You've already got something you can see that is different. Now I need to start working on the, what Lindy Stitches, Steph over at Lindy Stitches says her cough syrup parts of the design, the really pale colors that need to be done, but it's hard for me to be motivated to work on them because you guys can't see the progress quite so well. So the last day I worked on that. First time, 98 stitches, then I did 135 stitches, and then 154 stitches, so quite a bit this time. So here is this one. This is 40 count for doll, 1/1, half cross. And it's now at 78.83%. And a lot of this edging was done. The center of the paper down here is still empty, but I did put in some colors along the edge here, so it's a little more filled in right here than it used to be. If I angle it, you can kind of see, but I really, it was nice I was able to work on this on the weekend during the day, because those light colors are a lot easier to tell the difference between the color, the thread, and the fabric during the day than it is at night. So that's great, making progress on that one. And then I worked on Cupcake Dreams once, on Wednesday. And this is one that I think will be the next replacement on my whip go board for the thing coming out this week. I think will be finished soon, and this will replace it for the remaining days on my whip go board because I want this done this year. And just temperature stitching is not chipping away at it fast enough, and I want to make sure it gets done. So this is by Tilton Crafts. It was a former freebie. They now have a pattern with like 8 cupcakes on it. This one is one of the 8 cupcakes, if you love it that much. I am stitching it on like a 28 count mint green Jubilee even weave, 1/1 full cross. And I got 138 full crosses. Now it's at 90.20%. It's getting there. So I worked, I think, pulling this pink down. So I have a little bit more of that pink, like right in here, and then in this cut strawberry. Then I can move on to the next color. I am color completing this with least amount of stitches to the most. And so the cupcake wrapper has like the most solid blocks. So that's why they have all the colors that had the more stitches, so that they're left at the end. But it'll be nice to be able to just start filling it in. It should go pretty quick here at the end. So that's good. And then Enchanted Alphabet came out, which is by Lavender and Lace. And this one is fun and also hopefully will get done this year. I have it on my whip go board as well. It subbed out for something else, so this will be in temperatures and whip goes, so hopefully it'll get done. I did a nice amount. I worked on this while I chatted with Colette this week. I worked on Cupcake Dreams while I chatted with my mom. So here is this one. This is on a 45 count, I think, Society Time linen, 1/2 full cross. And this is now at 58.04%, so that's nice. I focused in on the Z, got that mostly done. And then I think one of the colors in here was also in the butterfly, so I did that. Did a little bit down here, which I think is in the Y. And then I think some of this might have gotten added as well on the H. So this edge is getting closer to being done. And then I have several more letters over here, and then I've got a bunch of like the bunny at the bottom and a few little patches of grass. So it's still got some stuff to do, but I'm hopeful I can get this done too. I would love to finish several things this year. I'm already planning next year. I might dabble into that at the end of the video because it's been fun. But I am excited about finishing stuff right now, so hopefully I can keep that rolling. Then the temperature stitch on Friday was for Snow Mini Friends. But I also worked on this while I chatted with my sister on Tuesday. This is by Luminous Fiber Arts. This is the one with the least amount of stitches remaining. And on Tuesday, Simpsons was called, but I didn't want to work on a 1/1 or on 40 count while I was chatting. I didn't figure that was a wise idea. So I pulled this out. It could always use more attention to get closer to a finish. And so this got 198 stitches while I was chatting with my sister. And then an additional 64 stitches on Friday, because Friday was real busy. We had a family get together. I didn't work on anything regular, like regular normal piece that day. But this one, I was supposed to work on my Teresa Wensler that day, and since I only had like snippets, like 5 to 10 minutes at a time in the evening when I could snatch it, that's not the not the time that you want to work on a Teresa Wensler that you haven't picked up in 2 or 3 years. So this one got it like 20 minutes maybe. So I got 64 stitches, and it is now at 83.19%. So it got more than it looks like because I worked on it also while I chatted with my sister. So I worked in his hat. Oh yeah, this is 25 count B-Stitch Me in Frozen Lake, 1/1 full cross with my fancy floss conversion, similar to what's called for. And mostly I think was, did I do the birdies while I was chatting? I think I might have. Oh, I finished the kitty while I was chatting, and the birds. And then I know I did the hat color, and I started that light color in the scarf because my sister wanted me to finish the scarf with little fringe that the kitty's playing with. So this is getting real close. Got to finish the snowman. There's some more snow on the ground, and there's a squirrel right here and his stick arms. So that's what we can look forward to, but it's getting closer. This one should be the La Vuelta race in Spain. The cycling race in Spain starts this Saturday. So as far as I know, this one will be coming out for that one, with where I'll focus for a finish monogamously with the number of stitches they're cycling each day until it's done, and then I'll move on to the next one, which at this point is Winter Rose, I think, which is really fun. So I don't think I'll finish it before I come back to you, but you know, you never know. If it gets called for temperature stitching a couple times and then I do a couple days of La Vuelta stitching, who knows? But we'll see. That's gonna be fun. So that one should be a finish soonish. And then I also worked on another kind of bonus piece with my Gridiron Grind piece on Sunday, which is Crazy Wonderful Owl Family. This is a Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Anya Kai. And I got the no background version, and I'm using instead Picture This Plush Glacier, which is very similar to the blue that is in the picture. And the Broncos got 27 points in their second preseason game, and I'm doing 5 stitches per point during the preseason. So I needed 135 stitches this week, which I did already. Their game was on Saturday, so it was easy to just get those done on Sunday. And I'm trying to make this a little easier, but it's not. Here is where this one's at now. 1/1 full cross on the 28 count Glacier Lugana. I got, the 135 stitches, so now it's at 7.37%. There was, again, some blues in here that were close to the fabric, so it might be hard to see. There you can see them a little bit. But I also finished my string of this dark blue, and this medium blue got some attention. So I am picking symbols right in here. There's 2 more maybe in this 10 by 10 grid that will then, the next stitch symbols in that row are hitting Mama Owl's head. So I'm hoping not necessarily during preseason, because I think there's only 1 more preseason game. Yeah, because then they have a week off before the season starts. So depending on where there's like 2 more symbols, if they have a lot going on in Papa Owl, I probably won't get over here with the amount of stitches that I'll need. But hopefully into preseason or into regular season, I'll be able to start Mama Owl. So that'll be fun. This one is pretty nice. So I do still, looks like I have a little bit of thread on my needle in that like paler color of blue. So that will get attention next before I go find my next symbol. But we'll see how many points we get this week. 1 more preseason game. 5 stitches per point. And they'll move up to 10 stitches per point during the regular season. What I will probably need to do for that is, because it's likely to be more stitches than it is during preseason, because it's twice as many stitches per point. And the games are Sunday or Monday. I think I don't know if there's a Thursday. There might be one Thursday, but usually Sunday or Monday instead of Saturday like they have been during preseason. So I won't be able to get it all stitched before I come to you on Monday. I just film Monday morning. So what I'm probably going to do is I'll just collect the data on Sunday and kind of divide it up over the week and do a little bit all week to spread it out. So it's not going to impact all my other stitching, to try to fit in, 200, 300 stitches, depending on how many points they get. Because they're going to do great, right? I am stitching for the Denver Broncos. I know there's a few other people playing the game, which has been fun to follow their experiences. Carolyn over at Seasick Stitch is following the Steelers, I believe. And then Jessie Marie does stuff. She's following the Buffalo Bills. And Kim Hollenbeck, who kind of thought of this in the beginning, she's following the Detroit Lions. And I don't think she's doing anything during the preseason. She'll start during the regular season, which is in September. So it's been fun to see other people playing the game too. And I think Kim started a Full Coverage Fanatics group in the Facebook group. She started an event for Gridiron Grind. If you want to play it officially in there and cheer each other on, that's fine. I am not doing an official full coverage. It's a no background full coverage. So I'm not in that group, or that event. I'm just doing it on my own. But feel free to head over there if you want to use a full coverage piece for this. Okay, everything else is regular stitching. So my gift stitch for the week was Beachcomber by Lindy Stitches. And I started working more on this text box. I got a lot done. I'm so happy with how much I got done. And I am pretty sure I'm not going to fill it in, because the pale yellow around the outside and the white that fills it in are pretty similar. I don't know that if I filled it in, you wouldn't really be able to tell that I even did the pale yellow border. And I like how it looks now. So and it will be quicker if I don't do it. So that's the biggest thing. So here is this now. This is 40 count raw linen, 1/2 full cross. It was called for 32 count raw linen, so it's the same color, and I'm doing fancy floss that's similar to what's called for. So I've got all of these bits and bobs along the edge done, so I just need the upside down waves down here that are like these. I got the first 2 lines of text finished, and also because this Winter Sea by Color and Cotton is what I'm using for this blue, and it goes pretty pale in places. And I feel like if I had a background color, it might detract from the variegation of the text and make it harder to read. So I think I'm happy with it just the way it is. And I also am thinking I might find somewhere to put my parents' initials. Maybe this star or thing I'll take out, because then there will still be 5 of them, which is a nice, odd numbers are always aesthetically pleasing. So I might take that one out, because the year of their wedding is here, so I might put their initials in here somewhere. We'll see. I'm still stewing over that one. But also with my gift stitches, this one isn't as big of a deal. And Ranunculus is not as big of a deal, but my kids' pieces are not progressing as quickly as I need them to get them done by their high school graduations. So I'm thinking next year I'm going to get rid of Seasonal Sunday and do gift stitching for 3 days every week to try to get those done. So these other things will get accelerated faster, but then I also have other things I want to stitch as gifts that I can put in sooner. So it works out. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for next year for that. And next, I worked on Rosetto, which is my counted canvas piece and my Whip Go piece for August. So I was working on this, and this was going to be the last rotation of this for Whip Go, but I really wanted it done. And I know my next piece coming up this week is going to be finished before the 4 days are over. The Whip Go goal is. But I kind of just wanted to get this done. I didn't want to hold it over for another week. So I kind of changed my plans and finished it. So I ended up working on this for 3 days and a little bit. I didn't work on it at all on Friday just because we were gone a lot of the day, on a lot of the evening. And I had a tiny bit left I needed to finish on Sunday. So now it's done. But because of that, I bumped my normal, weekend stitching. So I did not get to my full coverage fun piece, which I'll do this week instead. And I didn't get to stitching shelf on Sunday, which depending on how this week goes, I might be able to add another day this week, but we'll see. That one I'm not as worried about because I have other days that I'm getting that attention throughout the month. So, all right. And here is this one, all completed. And I'm so happy with it. Feels good. This is my first counted canvas piece. I did everything as called for. And it's all done. It's like 18 count mono canvas on stretcher bars. Put a little arrow to make sure I'd always have the right way up. All the called for fibers, which were really fun to work with. Some of them were sparkly, some of them were ribbons, some of them were a lot of pearl cottons, silk, pearl silks, stranded silks that you were either doing pulling it off the card and using it as is if it was a chunky thing, or they had some stranded fibers, stranded silks that we used 4 strands at once. So pretty fun. So I am very happy with that. I did these L's, which are like a bunch of these stitches all just there. And then I did all of these, which are a lot of long stitches, long blocks of like satiny stitches. So yay. And yeah, this is the main thread, the Gloriana Pearl, which also in here, there's some Gloriana stranded silk in this, what's it called? Flowers of Italy, maybe? I don't remember. But anyways, that's the main one. I could tell they were kind of using this color, and then they picked solids that complemented it and came up with a color palette. So yay, it turned out really good. So I really need to get my finishes portfolio figured out. I have one. I've had one for years. I just haven't taken the time to put anything in it. So, but that will probably just go in there. Be fun to look at. And I do have another counted canvas pattern that's partially kitted, but I think I'll wait on starting that for a little while and focus on some other cross-stitchy things first. Yeah. She's having a nice nap. So that's fun. That got finished. Feel good. Check. And I also finished that Whip Go call. So I was still able to get to my non-full coverage fun piece for the week, which is English Garden Sampler. I worked on this on Sunday because it just kept pushing everything back. And this one, I went ahead and put it into books like I like to do with my Mirabilias and anything really big, a really big paper pattern that is kind of obnoxious to work on. I'll do that, and it's basically a digital working copy. So I take pictures of of the chart pages and go on my iPad, and then I go into the photos area and click on all the pictures I took and choose save to books, and it just takes it all the way over there, and it's one file in books, and you can go in there and use a highlighter tool and mark off what you worked on. So it really makes it helpful, especially with some of the confetti year bits. It'll be really helpful to work on that in there. And I'll do that with anything that's too large and complicated to bother recharting for Pattern Keeper. Or in this case, this has a lot of specialty stitches and fractionals. That doesn't translate well to Pattern Keeper anyways, so there's going to be a lot of things. It's better to leave it as a paper chart, but I can mark it off on my iPad. So this one got a decent amount of work. Still in the border, but finally got some attention. So this is where I'm at now. This is, I believe, a 28 count Jobelin in antique white. That's what it feels like. 2/2 full cross. So I went ahead and did some lighter tans up here, and then I thought, you know what? I feel like just filling in some colors in the border. So I just started here and picked a color, did one length. Some of them got all the way to the end with the extra because there was only a few stitches in that color, but other things concentrated over here. So yep, there's that one. So that was fun. Getting to work on that. It'd been several years. So hopefully it will not be several years till I work on it again. I am hoping to work on everything at least 2 days next year, so it should come out again next year. And that's everything I worked on. So this coming week, my gift stitch will be Bear Time Stories. This is Mini Bear Time Stories by Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Randall Spangler. And I'm doing this for my middle son. Here's my starting point on this one. This is 40 count Verdal in white, 1/1 half cross. I'm currently focusing on the bear's head, trying to fill it in. So it's a lot more filled in than it was, a couple months ago when I first started focusing on the head. So, and once the bear's head is done, then I'll work on the dragons, I think. So, and then the book. I think that's the order he wanted me to do. Bears, then dragons, then book. So that's that one. I'll work on that for 2 days. And then my WhipGo piece for, my second WhipGo piece for August that got called was Azure Ornament, which is really close to being finished. So I'm hoping to get this done maybe this week. This is this one. It was from Smarty Owl on Etsy, and it's it's all long Jessica Stitch type stitches for the most part, and it's very fun. Has like a spiral graph look to it. And I'm using some Silks for You silks that were just complimentary. Mine doesn't look like the cover. I'm using it on Congress cloth so that which is what I was working I have a ranunculus on Congress cloth. I have some other full coverages. Congress cloth is like the small version of mono canvas, which you do counted canvas and stuff, needlepoint with. So this is like it is a stiffer canvas, but it's little. So it holds its shape. And so I have been working it in hand, and it's been working pretty well. So here is this one, and I'm doing it on like a light blue Congress cloth with, pretty colors. So I have really been enjoying this one, and I believe it's pretty much done, all this part. There might be some bits and bobs in the middle that I have missed, but I'll double check before I'm done. So I just basically have this bottom portion to finish. And these really big spirals I was running out of thread. So I got a package from Hexagon Stitches, Lynette, and she had some Silks for You that she thought might be potentially the right color. None of them are 100% the same, but there's one that's close enough that I think I might blend it with mine so it doesn't look too stark of a difference to help me be able to finish that out. Because I think I'm doing 2 strands of everything to make it work on this, because this is 24, essentially over 2, 24 count over 2, in order to get, because I think I wanted it small and cute, but then I realized the way they had it charted, you really, like, you're going down in the middle of the square, which you can't do on an even weave. I mean, on a Congress cloth, there you can't split anything because it's very highly starched. So I'm like, well, I guess I'll do it over 2. But then it eats up a whole bunch of thread. So what I'm thinking down the road, when I'm in an experimental mood again, I might try this again on something actually small, like a linen that's 32-40, something like that, and then do it over that, with 1 strand and make it small with a different colorway, you know, because you got to make it fun and different every time. So that one, I have 2 days slated for that this week. Hopefully that'll be enough to get it done. And then my miscellaneous non-full coverage that I want to work on this week is Daisy Girl. And this is an old Leisure Arts leaflet that I started ages ago, but I have restarted it since. So I now have a new start date because I think I started it calls for 28 count. And I started it on a 32 because that's what I had that was the right color that I could find in my store back when all we had was craft stores. I think I used MCG Textiles 32 count gray. And so I'm like, well, I'll do that. It's fine. And only I realized they wanted to do it in 3 strands over 2 instead of 2 strands over 2, which is very tight on a 32 count to do 3 strands over 2. So I was just doing it as called for, you know, as far as the threads go, even though the fabric wasn't as called for, and it was not fun. and the chart is hard to read because everything is like in color, but like the 3/4 stitches are a totally different color than the quarter stitches and the whole stitches, only they're the same thread. So you end up finishing a whole section with all the full crosses and the quarter stitches. Then you realize after you tied off your thread, of course, that you had a whole bunch of 3/4 stitches that you could have done when you were right there, but they were a totally different symbol, so you missed them. So it was very frustrating. So I ended up restarting it. It's still on a 32 count, but I am doing it 2 over 2. So there's some blends that were charted for 2 strands of one color and 1 strand of another. I'm just doing 1 of each, and it's fine. And this will be another one. I'll go ahead and take the time to put it into books so that I can mark it off with my finger. I think I have in here, I must have scanned it like at my mother-in-law's house or something and had some color copies, because I have some color copies in here with highlighting, but I think it'll be a lot easier on my iPad. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So here's my starting point. And it's a lot smoother now, which is nice, with only 2 strands over 2. But it is still hard to kind of see all the symbols and figure out what's going on. So it is a little slower than some things, but hopefully I can make some progress on this and maybe get some of her face and stuff done. So this is just a mystery gray-green, very pale gray-green. That would be nice. And I think it was gifted to me. Oh, I have like the bottom of a Cross Stitch Studio mystery sampler down here that I didn't finish. If I need that, I can frog it later, but I figured I'll just use this, flip it over, use the piece for Daisy Girl. So, because I decided to UFO that project, but still use the fabric. So, all right, so that'll be fun to see some progress on her. And then I'll go ahead and work on Grand Library Romance. I didn't bring it up because I don't know, I didn't want to. I'll remind you what it looks like though. And this is the one I was going to work on last week, and it got bumped because I wanted to finish Rosetto, but this is this one. So I'll work on this a little bit on Saturday and then hopefully get to Stitching Shelf on Sunday, which I also didn't bring up because I didn't work on it. But this is the Stitching Shelf Max Colors. I'll work on the Summer Shelf somewhere. possibly in the scene with these two people. It's kind of what I was thinking of last time. So those are my weekend plans, along with another round of gridiron grind stitching on the Crazy Wonderful Owl family, and then the Love Vuelta starts on Saturday, so I'll have some stitches on that, probably on Snow Mini Friends. So yeah, that'll be fun. I'm excited about the imminent finishes that I can see coming for the rest of the year, so that's gonna be really fun. So with that, I think that's everything I have to share, and Smokey, says goodbye too. Have a wonderful week and happy stitching. Bye.